What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we're playing Sarulf Realm Eater in Historic Brawl. Sarulf is a 3-mana Golgari 3/3 wolf. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarulf. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Sarulf has one or more +1/+1 counters on it, you may remove all of them. If you do, exile each other non-land permanent with mana value less than or equal to the number of counters removed this way. So that's a lot of words. Let's break it down. Obviously the first part, whenever a permanent is put into our opponent's graveyard, we put a +1/+1 counter on Sarulf. Pretty straightforward. So at the beginning of our upkeep, we get to choose. We can either choose to remove all the counters on Sarulf. So let's just say there's 4, right? So Sarulf has 4 +1/+1 counters. It's currently a 7/7. At our upkeep, we can decide, do we want to remove 4 counters? If we do, we exile each non-land permanent with mana value 4 or less. And except for Sarulf, is because it says each other non-land permanent. So Sarulf is essentially a board wipe in the command zone, and it can either be a really big creature because, you know, your opponent's putting stuff in their graveyard, or we're making them put stuff in their graveyard, which we'll get to in a sec. But, you know, we can either make this a giant creature, or we can make it a board wipe. So it's really versatile, because in situations like, let's just say we're playing mono red, Sarulf comes down and they start to go wide, right? They have a bunch of creatures that are hasty or whatever, and we need to get rid of them. Well, Sarulf, you know, most of their creatures are only like mana value 2 or less, and so we just need to get 2 counters on Sarulf, and then we can remove 2 counters and exile all their creatures, right? But in a situation where maybe we're playing against a control deck, and we don't really have anything, you know, that's pressuring us necessarily, maybe they have bigger spells, and they don't have that many permanents, Sarulf can just be a giant creature, right? Sarulf can be that 7/7 or bigger, depending on, you know, what we can remove of the opponents. So it's very versatile. Like I said, a board wipe in the command zone, and it's interesting that it's exile too. So exile is not something normally that Golgari does, but it's definitely beneficial because, and it does say non-land permanents, it doesn't just say creatures. So like, let's say we remove 5 counters from this and we're playing control and they have a Teferi down. Well, it removes their Teferi and it exiles it. So really cool card. We're gonna have to play the games and show how it situationally it can be beneficial either as a giant creature or as a board wipe. The deck is essentially Golgari mid-range, you know, with a little sprinkling of control. Some pieces to help support Sarulf, like the Ozolith, really awesome artifact. So whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has counters on it, you may move all those counters from the Ozolith on the target creature. So if our opponents try to remove Sarulf and it has counters on it, well, the counters temporarily get put on the Ozolith. So let's say those 4 counters, Sarulf dies, those 4 counters go on the Ozolith. When we get to replay Sarulf on our next combat, those 4 counters can go back on Sarulf. So essentially, even if our opponents try to remove Sarulf because they don't want it to wipe their board, we can just save those counters for later with the Ozolith. And then we have a bunch of other like counter support and putting counters on stuff. You know, other creatures that come in with counters, things like that. A lot of removal. I mean, Golgari has some of the best removal. Death Sprout, Culling Ritual, Mortality Spear, Binding of the Old Gods, you know, all that good stuff. Putrefy. So, Casualties of War, personal favorite. And then it's just a bunch of creatures that are, you know, we can use Sarulf as a board wipe, but if we don't need to, we can just make a giant and smack in with our stuff. And that's where we have like Unnatural Growth and Vorinclex and, you know, Garrick to make wolves and destroy things. So again, it's mid-range. It's both. Just like the card, it's both. It's both destroy your stuff, or, you know, against the right matchup, or become giant and unstoppable against other matchups. So let's see if we can get some wins with this deck. Typical mana base, added in the fetch lands just to make our mana more consistent. If you like this kind of content, subscribe. I try all different kinds of decks. I've been looking forward to playing this one, so if you tuned to this video specifically for this commander, appreciate that. Thanks for coming in. Hopefully I can do it justice. It's not always the case. Tally's a tough one to go up against first. Unfortunate thing about the Tally is in these colors we don't have any way to stop its ETB. So if they get to the right mana, we don't kill them before they get to 7 mana, which we probably won't. They'll be able to steal spells from us. However, you know, Sarulf can potentially get rid of anything that comes down. Okay, so 2 lands, 2 mana dorks, Toski. I think this is good. They get to go first, though. So sometimes this deck just ramps to a Tally. Sometimes it plays an actual game and plays a Tally as a payoff. So we'll have to see which version the opponent's playing. We have nothing to do on turn 1, so we'll just come into play tapped. Destiny Spinner. We don't run counter spells, so this doesn't really matter, but essentially they can't, creatures they control can't be countered. Let's just do it like this. I'm leading on the hexproof mana dork, just in case they have a lightning bolt or something like that, because that would really, we already went second. We don't need our mana dork getting destroyed. This is a way that we can catch up, and so since it's hexproof, they can't target it. Alright, that's another way to get there. So I think what we do, crack this. Let's go, we need an untapped land. Do it like this. This can go grab a forest. Yep. However, this is gonna ramp us. So we lost our mana dork, but we are gonna still ramp. Yep, there you go. So they're 1 land away from a Tally. That's kind of how their deck works. Okay, let's go get the yeah, this guy. The tap snow land. Sarulf. Man tower, pass. And we'll see if they Tally this turn. If they do, it's not a lot we could have done about it anyway. See what they hit. Okay. Could have been a lot worse. It's pretty weak a Tally. Okay. So, a Tally has trample, which is definitely a bummer. We can use this to go get Binding of the Old Gods back. They can't flip a Tally yet. They need 9 mana to do that, and they only have 7. So what do we do here? We get to attack in, and they have to block with something, but they probably just block with this. So that doesn't really do anything. We could just put more power down too, you know. I think this is the way to do it. Go get you. Play another ramp creature. No attacks. This is a pretty good card. Wonder if they're gonna attack with it. Great Henge. Okay. So they have 3 mana left over. 3 green. Perfect. Oh no, because they count for double. That's right. That's right. They had a lot more mana than I thought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. Nissa. No blocks. We have enough life to take this hit. I'm not worried about it. We could destroy Nissa with binding. Some lands would have been cool. This doesn't have trample, so we can block it with Toski. I think I'm not sure which thing we need to blow up now. They can turn this into the poison version as well. If we kill a tally, then they can just recast it. If we kill the beanstalk, we can attack down the Nissa, but then they just swing at us and we die. I think it's the Nissa that has to die. It's just too much value.
I can help you now.
Start putting +1/+1 counters on stuff. Okay, so now they have to choose whether they want to attack with a tally. And we could just block. We'll see how they go about it. Yep, they're going to transform it. Okay. I see. That's smart. I mean, we have to block something. So, we'll block you. Block you. Yep, I mean, that's the right thing to do for the opponent. It's now indestructible too, so there's not a lot of stuff in our deck that gets rid of this thing. You know, just the Atali deck doing Atali things. There's not a lot we could do about it. We also went second, so I mean, it's really hard to compete with this deck. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think we lost this game. Can't think of a single card in our deck that gets us out of this, since Sarulf is our board wipe, and we had to use it to block. But yeah, Atali's like a top 3, you know, commander in the format, and Sarulf is not. So if you go second to Atali, you're probably going to lose, but also this card is just so good, it's hard to compete with, period. So you need like a really specific kind of deck to beat this deck. You either need counterspell so that it never hits the battlefield, or some type of way to, you know, kill it constantly to make sure it costs too much for them to cast. But our deck doesn't really do that, so not a great matchup for us to start off with. Surprised our deck was paired against that deck, because that deck's a tier 1 deck and our deck is not. But, you know, Arena Shuffler is going to Arena Matchmaker, I should say, is going to Arena Matchmaker. They really need to sort that system out. It's not very clear. It's not very clear how certain commanders are paired against each other. Hopefully we get a more normal opponent. Okay, Nickel Bolas. Alright, we're getting like top tier shit, so I don't know who at Wizards lost to Sarulf, but someone's angry about it. Someone does not like this card that works for Wizards. Death Sprout's good. Yeah, I mean, this is good if we draw a land. They get to go first, though. Two tap lands is no bueno on the draw. This is better. Okay. Tap land, go. Okay, they have counter magic, mana up. Let's see what they got. Now they could counter it, which is fine with me. Yep, that's fine. Because that's probably what I would have taken anyway. Ashiok, sure.
I wonder what you... I leave you with one last nightmare.
Okay. Exile target creature, hostage taker, planeswalkers you control. Yeah, we'll have to get rid of that eventually. This is the most annoying thing.
Behold, my epilogue of fear.
Okay. We'll just play our commander to let them exile it. Spend their turn doing that. If they don't get rid of it, we'll attack down the Ashiok. I mean, I guess they could play this guy, which is a 4/4 blocker. But then we'll Mortality Spirit and then attack down the Ashiok. Yep. Take action. What was that second clause? Whenever you cast non-creature spell, choose a counter target permanent, put an additional counter. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, well, get rid of that. We didn't draw a land, which is awkward. We could have done this. Proliferate, take an extra turn after this one. Target player may also card, you draw a card. Okay. Yeah, we really need some lands, but I guess this will do. So they a mill deck? Because they keep milling me. Still have 74 cards left in the deck. Okay, they play their commander. Discard a card. This is probably the weakest card in our hand. Well, that's pretty good. Let's see how they handle that. They can block, but then their Nicol Bolas dies. They let Jace go.
Did that just happen?
Are they close to flipping this? They need 7 mana to flip it. 1, 2, 3. No, they're not even close to flipping it yet. Okay, get rid of my creature. They have no counters to add to. Hmm. Doesn't feel like they have anything. One, two, three, four, five. We have time for this. Alright, cool. That's going to be big for us. And they're in Grixis, so they don't have a lot of ways of dealing with enchantments. Yeah, so we sack. Oh, because of Vorinclex, it doesn't work because it won't allow them to put a counter on it. So this did absolutely nothing. I don't think they understood that. Okay. They still haven't drawn any more lands. This won't do anything as long as this is on the battlefield. This can kill this as long as we can hit Revolt. I think we can keep establishing board pressure, honestly. Make them deal with it somehow. Okay, 6th land. We really don't want this to flip. So we're probably going to have to binding it next turn. Chandra, okay. They can't kill Vorinclex, I don't think.
In my way is getting sizzled.
Yeah, no, they can just +2.
Check out these fireworks.
Oops. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so let me just explain what happened there. They -6th their Chandra. Oh no, okay, so there's a lot that happened there. Let me unpack it. So Vorinclex, if you're not familiar with this card, if you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice as many. If an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put half as many. So that's why Chandra entered with 3 loyalty instead of 6, because we put 3 loyalty counters on it instead of the 6 that it would normally get. And that's why the Eldest Reborn came down with no, what are they called, saga counters on it, because when it goes to chapter 1, you put 1 counter. What is half of 1? It's 1/2. You can't put half a counter, so it just rounds down to 0, right? So the saga comes down and does absolutely nothing because you can't put a counter on it. So then they -3'd this, which is why it sacrificed itself. So they wanted to do 3 damage to everything, which would have killed my Sarulf and my Druid. But because of Hardened Scales and Vorinclex, it added 4 +1/+1 counters. Because whenever an opponent control dies, put a +1/+1 counter. So it added 4, which took it way out of range of the -3, doing 3 damage to everything. So they essentially sacked their own Planeswalker to just kill my little Druid. And I still have, and they made my creature gigantic. Yeah, that was delicious. They didn't even know that we were going to binding their Nicol Bolas, play the Great Henge. We had Gruff Triplets. We were going to get a draw trigger off of our Druid. That would have been sweet. So there you go. This is what the deck is trying to do. Put all these pieces down and make them all synergize. And Nicol Bolas is a really tough deck, just in general, to play against. I think we did pretty well against that deck. And they removed a lot of our stuff, too. It wasn't like they were, Oh my goodness, Niv Mizzet, what did we... What is this? Just to finish my thought, I was going to say that Nicol Bolas player, it wasn't like they were floundering or anything. They were doing their Nicol Bolas thing. Niv Mizzet, man, this is like a CEDH commander. It's so powerful. Ramp, Putrefy, Gilded... I mean, yeah, it's a good hand. Is a little awkward against what we're trying to do, so I think we have a chance. We have a... yeah, turn 1, Gilded Goose. Their deck is okay until this comes down, then it's absolutely broken. Okay, awkward Return of the Wild Speaker. Let's do it like this. Nope. We could have attacked him just to establish dominance, but that's okay. They might have a hasty creature or something. Kill the Gilded Goose. Okay, well that's 3 damage that's not coming at my face, so that's fine. Thankfully we drew a land. Although it's a tap land. Yeah, we'll play Sarulf. That's also 3 damage that can't kill Sarulf. I mean, red has a lot of other, you know, damage effects, but let's make them use them. Garrick's Uprising is good. So now all my creatures have trample, and then whenever I play a creature with power 4 or greater, I draw a card. Lands would be super cool deck. Okay. Man, I have so many 5-mana spells that would be great to cast. Or even, you know, the 6-mana spell. I guess we just end the turn. They're holding up mana. It's not necessarily... Okay, there's the lightning bolt. Again, that's something that's not coming at my face. So that's okay. That's fine. What I was going to say is they're holding up mana, so we kind of want to force them to use it. If you ever have an opponent playing draw go, sometimes it's okay to call their bluff and say, okay, well, you held up mana, are you going to do anything with it? And if they don't, then they essentially wasted their whole turn cycle, right? Now they'd use their lightning bolts. They didn't, like, quote-unquote waste their turn cycle, but sometimes it's good to not do anything to have them react to, right? Okay, cool. We actually drew a land. Yes, we were going to pay the 2 life. Yeah, we'll do this. If they want to counter it, that's fine. Otherwise, it's great value for us. Commit it. Okay. That's going to draw them a bunch of cards, which is going to do a bunch of damage to us. They're probably going to play Niv-Mizzet here. No. Goldspan Dragon. Okay, that's a really good card. We might have to putrefy that. I wanted to save this for Niv-Mizzet, but... Okay, well... we can do both. They didn't have a counter. And they had plenty of mana for a counter, so they don't have any counters. Solemn. Man, they're just going to Ramp Town. They have plenty of mana to play their commander. They obviously just don't have anything to protect it with, which is why they're not playing it. So let's do this next turn if they don't do anything else, because we just need board pressure. If they're stalling until they have ways to protect this. Let's start pressuring them with our stuff. Okay, well, we can do this again. So what does this do again? Beginning combat, creature control. Yeah. Well, we can't play this. I thought we were gonna draw a land, and we did not. So I guess let's do this, because I talked about putting board pressure down, so let's put something down. It has trample. They want to draw a card. Do we let them? I think we let them. Gives us a +1/+1 counter on Sarulf as well. Now they may have a 2 damage spell, which would suck, but it is what it is. So we will decline. Nice. Okay. That's good. That's something they would have used to protect their commander. So now it's out of their hand. I think they're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to pop this soon. Okay. And oh, now they're tapping out. Done. So they're gonna have to choose whether they want to get rid of Sarulf or my face. So they're gonna get rid of Sarulf. Okay. We can't, I wish we could fatal push this so we could punish them. Or I'm sorry. I wish fatal push could kill their commander, because then it would give us another +1/+1 counter, but it does not. So we just have to let all this happen. Okay. We don't really want to take 6. We could Pelucranos, but we really just need to get rid of this. We still didn't draw any lands, which is so cool. Oh, this is a land. Okay, perfect. I guess we could have done this first. I don't think it would have changed anything, but we would have had 1 mana. Yeah, I don't think it would have changed anything. So now their commander costs 7, and they have easily enough to pay for it and 4 mana left over. So that's what they're gonna do. Or 3 mana left over. Rainstorm. Yep. So this is where the deck goes insane. Is every time they draw a card, they do 1 damage to any target. And like my removal is so bad right now because this makes us lose life equal to its mana cost. So we're gonna lose 6 to kill it with this. And then anytime we cast a spell, they draw a card, I'm pretty sure. Instant or sorcery. Yeah, which this is. What is this? Whenever a player casts instant or sorcery, yeah. So not just us, but them too. That's why they're drawing cards when they cast instants or sorcery. So yeah, now we literally can't use this to kill this because we'll just die. So we have to draw a way to kill this without killing ourselves. And we... It's a dragon, huh? Yep, so this actually can't even target it. Okay, well, I mean, GG, I guess. I hope they stop putting us against the Hell Q commanders. We'll just go out on our own terms. Are they just protecting their commander? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It's hexproof. Did they read the card? It literally kills me. Alright. Cute. Cute opponent. You're a real good Magic player. Yeah, again, our deck is not as good as these decks we're going up against, so I don't really have a lot of analysis for losing those games. It's just kind of unfair matchups, but I did not think this... I really didn't think this commander would be in this queue. I thought it would be in, like, the B tier queue, not the, you know, Hell Q tier 1 queue. But that's what we've been playing so far. It's just funny. Sometimes I play, like, cards like this where it's like, oh, that's a fun little build around, and it's like, nope, you're straight in Hell Q. Skies to Satan Trapped. It's probably the best Voltron commander. It's hex proof, so we can't target it. I'm just gonna not even play this game. Let's get into another one. Nothing in our deck is gonna affect it. I mean, there's a world where we could play Sarulf and maybe make them remove some stuff and put some counters and then exile it, but like their whole deck, it's gonna... There's not a lot of ways to make that happen, is what I'm trying to say. It would be a giant waste of time, where we ultimately just lose. There's a very narrow way that we could win that game. And I'm not willing to make you guys sit around and watch to see if I can make it happen. Atraxa, sure. This format would be so much more fun if the queues were balanced, but every deck we've come across so far is a tier 1 deck. It's like Sarulf is not bad, but it's not tier 1, so I don't understand why we're in this queue. But we will try. We'll try this game. There's a world where we could win this. 1 lander, 2 lander, technically, ramp, tireless provisioner. I mean, it's decent hand. They of course get to go first. That's the other thing too. Have you noticed that we've never gone first? Maybe in the first game, I can't remember, but we literally have gone second every single game. So not only are we up against the wall, against these, you know, ridiculously powerful commanders, but we're going second is not helping. I guess if you're thinking about building this deck, this is something to think about. Sure. I would take either the End of the North or the Paradise Druid to slow me down. You want to take the Ozolith? You can take the Ozolith. Or the Yorvo. That's fine. Huh. Okay. Well, joke's on you, opponent. Yep. And shock it in. Cold Steel Heart on black. Put an influence counter on it, then scry 2. Target opponent may have you draw a card. We'll just lose life. It's fine. This is a land. Tireless Provisioner. Most upside of any of the plays we could have made. No One Ring for you. We could just blow this up and make them get a land. Or we can get Sarulf down and then wipe the board. Make a treasure. Sure, they had the perfect answer. Yes, buy to your lands. Okay, they can go get any card they want in their deck. So it looks like we're playing against Control Atraxa, because it's like tutors and card draw and wraths, counter spells, discard effects. I mean, I kind of respect it, because then this comes down and refills your hand. I mean, makes a lot of sense. Would have been nice to have Sarulf down when that was out, but here we are. Do we attack them? I think we just got to. They cultivate, sure. Needed the blue mana. So next turn they have Atraxa mana. Narset. Okay.
Past, present, and future are bound by thread. I have just the trick for this.
Sublime Epiphany. Okay. We could blow up their mana rock, which is pretty funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't know if they have a land. So we can either do this or blow up their mana rock. So we'll attack down Narset so they can't activate it.
So much commotion.
Oh, we could have put a +1/+1 counter on here too. That probably would have been the right play. Let's just return to nature there. Arcane Signet. It's helping the mana fix. And then let's put a +1/+1 counter on this. End the turn. Make it big. Yep, that's a response. Well, I'm glad we didn't play Sarulf.
Your corpse will volunteer. Get out of my way!
Haro. Okay. Tap land. If they hold up 6 mana, we know they're gonna Epiphany us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure how we win from here. I mean, we'll try a little bit more. This draws them a card because of Liliana's static ability. Well, we can't really afford to take 2 either. Yep, draw your card.
I'll find a use for you later.
Hold up Heartless Act if they play Troxa. They're still going to gain all the value from it, but at least it will be dead.
Waste not, want not.
Yep, River's Rebuke, Wrath of God. I think we can get out of here. Yep, just another fun, fair, balanced matchup. We'll try one more. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Sometimes Arena just screws you over. I'm just trying to play average decks here. Let me play my average decks. That's the thing too, like I'm all for people who want to play sweaty and stuff, but like let those people play against each other. Kinnan, come on. I'm not playing this game. I'm not doing it. This is like my least favorite card in the format. Let these people all play in their own queue, but Sarulf is not a Hell queue commander. I don't know in what world y'all think it has the same value as some of these other people. This is, okay, this deck sucks ass, but it's mono green, so we might have a chance. This is the one where they make lands out of thin air. It's this stupid alchemy card. Man, I had no idea that this was going to be a Hell queue game. Or Hell queue video, I should say. I'm just blown away. I have no idea why this commander's in Hell queue. 4 mana, Culling Ritual's not really it. Duress. I mean, this hand's kind of meh. Of course, they get to go first. Fuck it. How about this? Can we at least go first? This is that Boros Go Wide deck, right? With the gnomes. Yeah, I mean this deck's extremely good too. This deck makes sense why it's in Hell Q. Yeah, mulligan. This is good against them. This is good. It's alright. We get to go first, so I will try my best. Polluted Delta, go get Overgrown Tomb. I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah. We don't have a turn 1 play, so we'll just do it like this. I hope you all understand that I'm not like salty. I'm just, I just know which decks will kick our ass and which ones won't, or at least which ones we have a somewhat fighting chance against. And I've played enough games in my life to just understand how things are gonna go before I actually play the game, you know. And if I have like less than a 10% chance of winning, I just don't feel like any of us want to watch that. It's not really gonna show how the deck works or have any cool interactions. Like, I'm okay losing too as long as it's like good gameplay, but we're not gonna get that in a lot of these matchups. What does this do? Double team. What does double team? Whenever a creature with double team attacks, if it's not a token, conjure a duplicate into your hand. Oh good, more alchemy cards. More alchemy cards. Conjure a duplicate into your hand. Whenever it attacks, so they get 2 of these into their hand. Yeah, no. Let's not. We have Haggard Mauling for their commander when it comes down. What is this? Exile 2 cards from your graveyard. Deals 2 damage to any target. Okay. Sure. How about a 3/3? Excellent. I guess we play U tapped. Let's ramp. And no attacks. Okay, they're gonna make 3 gnomes. Nice. Okay. 1 blocker. Well, Sarulf does kind of keep up with their deck a little bit. Haggard Mauling. Oh, they're they're not going to attack with this, right? So we're pretty safe. And we can do this at instant speed, so let's pass. Because they might have like a 4 damage red spell. Ozolith. We have that too in our deck. And we might want to just save this for all modes. Okay. Well, it doesn't do anything. Because you don't have any mana. So we could exile all their stuff if we wanted to. No, never mind. Never mind. Let's do all modes, right? 5, so... Yep. Okay, yeah. Okay. So they can't play their commander for a bit. First strike, something. They're gonna attack with their intrepid adversary. Yeah, because it's got lifelink. Makes sense. Undoes the damage we just did. So we could remove 3 and remove their whole board. So let's take action. Oh, yes. Okay. Let's Pelucranos and really put the pressure on. Would you like to attack into my 6/6? Discard your hand and draw 2 cards. Damn. They're getting desperate. Yeah. Okay. Decline. Garrick. Make some wolves.
We are the apex.
Attack for 7. Okay, commander. We could, no. Decline. Did you not see Garrick was on the field?
Oh, I've had enough of you.
I think we have lethal, don't we? Yeah, we... Nice. Alright, there we go. Finally a good game. And not just because we won, but because, like, we were able to play our deck and not get totally curb stomped. Yeah, so I think that was a great example of how this deck, you know, can work when you have an even playing field with the opponent. And this deck, to be fair, is way better than our deck. At least in the sense that it's going to get you more consistent wins, right? This deck is one of the best aggro decks in the format. And you saw, like, they didn't have to do much. Like, there's so many, like, 1-card combos with this commander. Like, which one was that? This one, Rosie. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control, which directly synergizes with their commander. So you saw how many tokens they were able to make. So usually what happens is they play their commander turn 3 and they make a bajillion 1/1 tokens, and they get exponentially more of them each turn. And the deck goes really wide and it's hard to stop. But Sarulf was a great answer to that, because every time we killed one of their tokens, we got a counter on it, and we could remove that 1 counter to remove everything with 1 or less mana value. And since tokens have 0 mana value, it killed all their tokens. So yeah, we survived that. We almost died, but we survived it. I usually lose to that deck, so felt good to win against it with a non-conventional commander. So, deck review. The deck's great. I love the deck. I don't know why this card's in Hell Queue. It really kind of puts a damper on the whole, you know, card, because I don't really feel... I think I hardly ever see this card. I think I've played against it once, and like, you could go through all the videos I've made, which is like hundreds and hundreds of games, and I think I've played this deck once. And it was good, you know. I think I lost to it, but, you know, I don't remember what I was playing, but I don't think I was playing a Hell Queue commander. I often don't play Hell Queue commanders because I just don't enjoy that, you know, sweaty, you know, top tier stuff. But at least in this format. But the deck's great. It's a great deck, and if you want to build it in Commander, it's probably even better, right? I would just say be wary if you build this in Historic Brawl, because it's gonna, I would guess, put you in Hell Queue for no apparent reason. But that's who you're gonna be facing. You're gonna be facing Atraxa and the Gnome Boros dude and the, you know, Alchemy mono green land ramp thing, you know. That's, you know, Nicol Bolas. These are all the decks you're going to be facing with this card. So just keep that in mind. This version of the deck is not really equipped to go against those decks. There is a Golgari shell you could build that would be much more competitive against the top tier stuff, but it's like Golgari Control, which is not really... I mean, I guess you could kind of say it's synergistic with Sarulf if you want to just treat Sarulf as a board wipe, but and maybe we'll build that deck since we know we're going to be in Hell Queue. But it's not like the fun version to build. It's the sweaty try-hard version. So this is the fun build. I think if we were playing against other commanders that were even just one notch higher than in power level than this one, like A tier commanders, I think we would have a fighting chance against them in this build. In Hell Queue, not so much. So not a lot to analyze, but I hope you enjoyed the games where we actually did get to have some interactions, you know, with our opponents and whatnot. I thought those games that we actually played were fun. So yeah, hope you like the deck. Hope I at least represented it well for anyone who was thinking about building it. If you like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, all that YouTube stuff. Helps me make the channel grow, helps me make more content. If you have a suggestion for commander you'd like to see me play, just leave it in the comments. I'm always willing to look at, you know, suggestions from people, and a lot of the times I build those decks. A lot of the decks I've built, a lot of the videos I've made are from people's suggestions. Thanks for watching, appreciate it. Hope you have a good one. Later.